We open in the middle of something already alive. A single bright dot pulses in the dark, and thin lines reach into it from the left, each one carrying a little glow. Everything a neural network does starts with this one small act, so let's slow it down and really watch it happen. Each incoming line carries a number, a signal. Think of them as tiny brightness values, some strong, some faint. The neuron's whole job is to listen to all of them at once and decide how excited to become. But the neuron does not treat every input equally. On each wire sits a dial called a weight, and the weight decides how much that signal matters. Turn a weight up and that input shouts. Turn it down and it barely whispers. So the neuron takes each incoming signal, scales it by its weight, and adds all of those scaled signals together into one running total. A strong signal on a high weight adds a lot. A strong signal on a low weight adds almost nothing. There's one more knob sitting off to the side connected to nothing. It's called the bias, and it simply shifts the whole total up or down. It lets the neuron lean toward being excited or lean toward staying quiet before any input even arrives. Now the neuron holds a single number, its total. But a raw total can be enormous or deeply negative, and that's messy. So the neuron passes it through a gentle squashing curve that gates the signal. This curve is the neuron's personality. Big positive totals get squashed toward fully on. Big negative totals get squashed toward fully off. And totals near the middle land somewhere in between, undecided. The result of that squash is the neuron's output, its activation, a number between fully quiet and fully lit. That single value is everything the neuron has to say, and now here is the beautiful part. This one output becomes an input for the next neuron. Let's pull the camera back. That one neuron was never alone. It's one of many, and together they stack into a column, a layer, each neuron listening to the same inputs but with its own private set of dials. And one layer feeds the next. The outputs of this column become the inputs to another column further right, wired together in a dense mesh. Signal flows left to right, layer after layer, each one rebuilding the picture in its own language. This is our network, a small stack of layers with signal marching through it. Now it needs a job. Let's give it the oldest job in the book, one every child learns and every network is taught first. Look at a handwritten digit and say which number it is. The image is just a grid of little squares, each one brighter or darker. We line every one of those squares up and feed each one into its own input, at the very front of the network. To the machine, a 7 is nothing but a pattern of brightnesses. At the far end sit 10 neurons, one for each possible digit, 0 through 9. Whichever of them lights up brightest is the network's answer. It's a row of 10 lamps, and the network's guess is simply the brightest lamp. So let's run it. Watch the brightness pour in on the left and ripple forward through the mesh. Layer by layer, every neuron summing, squashing, and passing its verdict along. This whole left-to-right sweep has a name, the forward pass, and the answer comes out wrong. We showed it a 7, but the lamp for 1 is glowing brightest, and the 7 lamp is dim. The network is confidently, embarrassingly incorrect. This is exactly where the learning has to begin. Why is it wrong? Because right now every dial in this network is set to a random value. Nobody tuned them. It's an orchestra of thousands of knobs all turned to nonsense, playing noise instead of music. To fix it, we first need to measure exactly how wrong we are. Not just wrong or right, but wrong by how much, across all 10 lamps at once. We need a single number that captures the size of the mistake. So for each lamp we look at the gap between what it did and what it should have done. The 7 lamp should be full but is dim, a big gap. The wrong lamp is bright but should be dark, another big gap. We gather up all these gaps into one total score. That single score is the loss. It's one number that says how badly the network is doing right now. When the loss is high, the network is confused. When the loss is near 0, the network is nailing it. Learning means one thing only: make this number smaller. Now here's the mental leap that unlocks everything. The loss depends on the dials. Turn any knob a little and the loss shifts a little. So imagine the loss not as a bar, but as height, and every possible setting of the knobs as a place on a map. Do that for every combination of settings and you get a landscape, a range of rolling hills and valleys. High ground means high loss, a bad network. Low valleys mean low loss, a good one. Somewhere in this terrain is the sweet spot we're hunting for. Our randomly wired network is a marble dropped somewhere high on a hillside. It sits there, up on the slopes, far from any valley, and a marble on a hill wants to do exactly one thing: roll downhill. If we could just let it follow the slope, it would drift down toward lower loss all on its own. That single instinct, roll toward lower ground, is the entire secret of how a network learns. But there's a catch. The marble is a metaphor. The real network can't see the landscape. It only knows the single spot it's standing on. It has to feel which way is downhill using only local information right under its feet. Each neuron in that layer gathers up all the blame arriving from the lamps ahead of it and sums it into its own share of the fault. Now this layer knows how wrong it was too, even though nobody measured it directly. The error has been inherited, and we just repeat. This layer passes its blame back to the layer before it, scaled by those wires exactly as before. Layer by layer, the error ripples backward until every neuron in the network knows its share of the mistake. Now comes the payoff. Once a neuron knows its own error, it also knows something about every dial feeding into it. It can tell for each weight whether that weight made things worse or better, and by how much. That's exactly the gradient we were hunting for. Think about what just happened. One backward sweep, from the output all the way to the input, and we've computed a nudge direction for every dial in the entire network all at once. This is the quiet miracle that makes learning actually possible. So now we act. Every dial takes one small step in the direction its arrow points, downhill on the loss. Nothing dramatic per knob, just a gentle turn, thousands of gentle turns happening together. Watch them all tick over. That completes one full cycle. Push a digit forward, measure the loss, flow the error backward, nudge every dial. Forward, measure, backward, nudge. On our landscape, the marble has just taken a single step downhill. One step barely changes anything, but we don't take one step. We take this same cycle thousands upon thousands of times, showing the network digit after digit, nudging a little each time. Learning is not a leap, it's an enormous pile of tiny, patient corrections. And as the marble descends, something changes back in the network. The dials are no longer random. They're settling into a pattern, an arrangement that actually knows how to tell digits apart. Order is quietly emerging out of the noise. Let's go back to our poor misread 7 and watch it learn, live. Here it is again, and here are the 10 lamps, still calling it a 1. Keep your eye on the 7 lamp, sitting there in the dark. We're about to let gradient descent run. Start the loop. Forward pass. The wrong answer glows. Error measured, it flows backward. All the dials nudge. Now watch the lamps after this single correction. The 7 lamp has brightened, just a hair, and the wrong lamp has dimmed, just a hair. Again and again. Each pass, the 7 lamp climbs a little, and its rival fades a little. It's slow, it's grudging, but it is relentlessly moving in the right direction. The network is being pulled, one nudge at a time, toward the truth. And there it is. The 7 lamp overtakes the imposter, and pulls clearly ahead, glowing brightest of all 10. The network now looks at that scribbled 7 and says, with growing confidence, 7. The red mark turns green. Nothing magical happened here. No rule about 7s was ever written down. No line about slanted strokes or crossing bars. There was only a landscape, a marble, and a patient walk downhill, repeated until the loss grew small. Zoom back out one last time to the whole network, humming now, its thousands of dials all tuned in concert. Every one of them was set by the same simple idea we watched a single neuron begin with. Measure the mistake and step against it. That's how a neural network learns. Not by being told the answer, but by feeling how wrong it is and inching toward less wrong, over and over, until the shape of the right answer emerges on its own. A summing neuron, a loss to roll down, and error flowing backward. That's the whole machine. If this made it click, subscribe for more visual math.